Hello and welcome back. I know I've been gone for a while. I've had some issues, but I'm okay, and that's all that matters with that. And I've had equipment failure, technical difficulties, and stuff like that. So, the projects, a lot of the projects that I had going and posted videos on, got all finished up and gone and everything else like that, and I went to download all my information, all the data that's on the camera on the SD card, and it went, and it had a bad case of diarrhea because it lost everything, and I could not make it card. I could not get it back any way, shape, form, or fashion. There was no backup on the internal drive of the camera, so that and the card just, it would not read, it would not take any new information, it wouldn't do nothing. The card died. It was a big card, a 32 gigabyte. So it had tons of information on it because I was getting ready to go to Colorado. So I was just kept going and kept going and kept going, making them. A lot of times I was making 2 or 3 videos, 3 and 4 videos a day, trying to get, going from project to project, and trying to get as much content filmed as I could. Well, right before I went, I thought, well, I'll just get them and go, and everything went south on that. So, and right about then's when I started having dental issues too. So, I thought I took care of it here before I left to go to Colorado. Didn't take care of it. Flared up in Colorado, and had to we cut Colorado short and come back home, and then I tried to get it taken care of, and it went wild on me. So anyway, that being said and that being done, I've still got holes in my jaws, so they're not completely healed yet. And when I went back the other day for a checkup on them, I asked them. He said, well, boy, they look good. They look real good. And I said, well, why do I still have massive holes there that look bad? And he said, well, the dentist told me, he said, well, I said, I've sewed up. I said, the stitches is gone, but yet I've still got gaping holes there. And he said, well, gums heal from the bottom up, just like the tooth grows, not like you cut on the hand or something and they stitch it up that it will nip back right there where it's at and go down and up. No, your mouth works different. It's the second fastest healing part of your body. Your mouth is. And that don't mean that it's super fast, but it's the second fastest healing part on your body. First being your eyeball. Yes, for instance, they take cataracts off. They put you in there, open you up, flip take a knife, take a razor, laser, whatever, and they cut and throw your iris back, the layer there, to get to your eyeball on the inside, and then remove a cataract. Okay, they've removed it. It's gone. Now, you are there with a bare eyeball and a flap of the outside cover of the eyeball, and they flip it back. No stitches, no super glue, no nothing. Just they roll it back, make sure it's got no iron under it, and it seals itself down through to vacuum there, and it heals in a moist environment with no scarring around the edge. So when, well, if it does scar, it's out of your pupil, outside of your iris view right there in your pupil. So even when your pupil dilates the biggest, it will see no ring around it, scar, and it's healed. They don't do anything. Sometimes they don't even put a bandage over you just to keep the light from doing damage to your eyeball itself, your iris, pupil, and whatever right there. This is so what I was told. Now, I've not had eyeball surgery, so I hope I never find out that. But anyway, that's what I was told. That's your eye's number one, your mouth is number two. So anyway, I'm healing. I still got to watch what I eat. I can't eat certain things because mainly I don't have the teeth anymore to eat them. Back there, wisdom teeth cut, a wisdom tooth cut out. Yeah, I've got one. I've got the one on the bottom. I had cut out. It had to come out, and so that's the reason. You just don't feel good, or I didn't, and I still don't. But I'm out here. I'm going crazy. So that's what that was. So I put all my projects on hold after I finished them and got them gone and everything else like that. So it's not to say that I hadn't been doing knife stuff. It's just I invested. I've got a new camera. I hope this one works as good or better because I didn't want to take any chances with the other one. But I believe the other one would be okay. I think it was just the card bad. So I got a new camera. Takes the same card, takes the same batteries. It's the same brand, only it's newer, and it's got a huge internal memory. So if I run out of card space on it, which I got a 64 gigabyte card and put in with this one, so and I even bought another one for the other card. So sometimes I may set up two cameras. And if I can ever figure out how to do that, I will do it. So what I'm trying to say is here in the short term, I'll be back in a while, if not sooner, and everything. I hope the color's not fading in and out on this, and if it is, I don't know. Maybe dirt on my glasses. But anyway, I'll digress on that. So that's how I've been doing, and I hope you've been doing a whole lot better. And God has blessed you all through the holidays with happy families and a good new year and everything else like that. I hope and pray that for you. So anyway, so right now this is what I'm doing on. I didn't film this the other day. I wish I had it, but I didn't. Wasn't feeling the best in the world, so I thought I'd come take my frustrations out on a piece of steel or two or 10. So I did. I beat on it for a couple hours. And I paid for it for the next 2 or 3 days because I just come out and started beating and banging. But anyway, this right here, this is a knife that is, I have had a little influence from Tyrell Knife Works. The one that puts a shark on it is his maker's mark with a TK under it. So anyway, it's kind of inspiration, one of his knife shapes. I took that and decided that I would try something new. And you can't tell it because of all the blue Dicom that I have on it. This is a piece of very low layer count Damascus. Not exactly, but it is a type of Damascus, and it is very low layer count. I have no press or no power hammer, so it's all strictly me, and and it's very much so not exactly flat, not exactly straight, not exactly anything right now, except for laid out a little bit. I've got this grounded shape. I cut it out, grounded shape. I hand forged over this. I started with a 1.25 inch by 5 inch billet of let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers. So 7 layers. And it was like I said, 1.25 inches wide, 5 inches long. When I got done with it, it was 2.25 by 8.25 long. So anyway, so I've got this, and I hope that I've got any of the D-lambs on the edges and stuff. But the thing about this, since they're not in the middle of it, because this has a core a unit, just a core of steel in the middle of it, right there, and the rest is going to be ground away. As long as there's nothing else happens further on up here on this edge or on these edges right here, anything that's delamed on the edge that's not in the center will be ground away anyway. So that enabled me to keep a pretty good size billet and make it like this. And I left a tang right there. I've got to drill holes in it and then notch it so I can weld a rod on it to make a handle. So with that, okay, so this is that. This is, like I said, very low count. And I have a piece of buffalo horn, Asian buffalo horn, that I'm going to use for a spacer. I have a piece, I've not decided yet whether I want to use it for a spacer or make a guard out of it. But this is wrought iron right here. So it ought to be gorgeous anyway. And I don't want to beat on it too awful much more, because where I flattened it was a round bar. So anyway, then I'll just hand sand it and grind it and do what I need to do with it and make it work, but I'll make it flat. And then I have one of my Aspen burl blocks that I got James Davis at County Line Forge, Ting Ting, to do. This is the Aspen burl wood, and he done cast it for me and everything. So I have a little bit more, if you know, that I'm going to try to do, either try to get him to do it for me again, or if I'm going to start doing it myself. I've done that. I hadn't done any of it yet because I don't have the chemicals. I've got a pressure tank almost, and I've got a vacuum chamber that the lid cracked on, and the manufacturer will not make it up. So evidently the Chinesium just don't work, and so I'm going to look for a chamber. You can use any kind of pot for a chamber. I mean, you can use a turkey fryer as long as you got a lid that will, and a seal, but the lid's got to be really strong. Now you could do it with steel, yes, you could do it with a 1/4 inch steel and put a gasket around it, yes, but you couldn't see in there. And on a vacuum you really need to see it, because as it removes air, product will wick in, the chemical will wick in like a straw to a point, and that's it. And what you're doing is you're removing the air from it, and as you're removing the air, it will boil off. It will boil the air and the moisture that's in it, even though it's pretty dry. Once you start lowering the pressure in the pot and start moving the air out, well, it will heat up and it will actually boil. And people in the HVAC business already know this, that when you change from a solid liquid to a gaseous, you create a little bit of heat. The heat does it, you lower the pressure, and it takes very little bit of heat, I mean just nothing, to make it boil off. So that's what happens, is the air removes, it kind of boils off, and it will bubble and foam and overrun your product down in your barrel, down in your pot, and waste your product. So you have to be able to see it so you can throttle it and get your vacuum to where it's still, the needle is going down or holding, but your product's not, your liquid is not boiling away or being forced away by the escaping oxygen. And then when you get it down to where it's negative 29 on the mercury scale, is about as perfect as we can get it here on Earth. NASA, I believe, could get it a little bit further down, because space is a vacuum of like about 30 or more. So, and 29 inches of mercury is about all we can achieve here on with our HVAC stuff. Now, like I said, NASA can get it on down. So you didn't figure on getting any kind of education or anything or explanation of things, but that's how that works. When you lower the pressure, the lower the number. When you lower the pressure, you lower the boiling point of anything, water, anything. I think he said, what was it that it boils? That water boils on top of Everest, Mount Everest, which is 27,000 feet. It's kind of a long way up there. Don't know exactly the footage on it, the elevation of it, but it's a long ways up there. And I believe they either said it was 138 degrees Fahrenheit or 158 degrees Fahrenheit that water would boil there. I've never been there, so I don't know. So anyway, but I do know that when they sent down like a bathysphere, and they had people at pressure under there living, doing research and stuff under the ocean right there. I forget how deep it was, and they had to breathe a whole lot of mix of helium. Everything there was all because of the helium and the other stuff and a few other things there. Everything, they couldn't have a flame of any kind, so everything was electrically heated, in a sealed burner. So that, and they said that water would not boil at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So that they made instant coffee and everything, and they had to time the water and then actually take a temperature of it to keep them from being scalded and everything. So the higher the pressure, it's like a car radiator. You put pressure in it, water boils at 212. You put chemicals in it, you put a pressurized cap on it, you pressurize the system, and water don't boil till 230 degrees or 240. The higher the pressure that you can hold, and the various whatever chemicals, antifreeze, whatever they're made of, can raise that boiling point on up, and so it won't boil away and turn to steam and explode. So that's like the water heaters, the original, some of the water heaters. The feller that started Rheem, RHEEM, I believe, if memory serves, and history and education is still up there rattling around, that the man that started Rheem, or his name was Rheem or something like that, I don't remember that, but I think he's the one that first come up with a pressure pop-off on a water heater, because they was having problems with water heaters and the thermostat sticking and running amok. And once you start heating water without taking it away from it, say somebody's gone and come back home, nobody'd run water for hours, and the water heater is sitting there and the thermostat is stuck wide open on it. Well, it boils, and in a small space it becomes steam. Water becomes steam. And if the lines was iron pipe and everything and cinched down together like iron pipe is supposed to be, well, the tank happened to be the weakest point at the wells and sorter lines and everything else, and it would explode and do massive amounts of damage, and it'd be a steam bomb, and it would actually hurt people, kill people, and do everything else like that. So I believe it was Rheem that came up with the first workable, practical, and reliant pressure pop-off, so that wouldn't happen no more. So when you increase the pressure, you raise the temperature of water boiling, of any liquid boiling. The more pressure you put on it, the higher it is before it actually will create bubbles. That's the reason on a pressure pot, when you're making these handles like this right here, you put about 50 or 60 pounds in it. And what you're doing with that is you're holding the pressure against it, so there's nothing in there that would push it out. If you left one little bubble in your piece of wood right there, it would come out and it would possibly burn everything. Where chances are, what little air was in there that you would push and push in and help push the resin into any open pores would help. But it will maintain that you get a tight, your product is tight and no air bubbles, so it makes it solid. So that's two things you got to worry about with this. Like I said, I got a pressure pot. It's an old great big a pressure cooker, which I know will hold pressure. It'll hold all I want it to hold. But anyway, so that's what that is. I'm sorry I got off rambling about everything. But anyway, I just thought I'd get back in touch and let everybody know. I know I've rambled on about things, but this is things I have to think about when I start doing this. Now, right here is a vast amount of my aspen burl. So, I do have lots of it, and it's been drying. Here's a piece I cleaned. It's been drying, and the fellow that sawed this for me, love him to death, and everything else like that. I told him a ½ inch, and he thought I said inch. So it's not wide enough per se to make a single handle out of it. If it's 1¼ inch, it'd be fine, but it's not. It's about 7/8 what it is. So, and I don't have a bandsaw to reach saw it into scales, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. I mean, it is what it is. And if I make it into scales, they'll just be thick, and you can I'll just have to sand them down, which that's okay. I mean, I could have gained a bunch more and it would have dried a lot faster if it went ½ inch instead of 1 inch, but I wasn't there, and he misheard me, so no fault to him at all. I appreciate what he done for me and everything else, and he jumped right on it. So it's not like I was being a taskmaster on him. I left it with him, and he called me right back and said, "Hey, I got it." I went, "Okay, yeah, great, thank you." And I asked him about it, and when I got there, and I said, "I wish them would have been ½ inch." He said, "½ inch." He said, "I thought you said inch." I said, "Well, that was my mistake then. I may have." But I said, and I looked at him, and he said, "There's no way in God's green earth I can lay these back on the sawmill table and cut them in half." He said, "There's no way." And I said, "Don't worry about it. That's fine. I'm great. I'm good. Don't worry about it." So, and then I had some that's a little thicker that I had him saw, and so I could make blocks out of them like that. And let's see, right here's, right here. I got 3 or 4 laying right here. Yeah, I know this. I need to sand this one off, do some wire brushing and everything to get it, but this side of it makes it gorgeous. I mean, so yeah, once I wire brush this other side and get it down to this wood right here, then I can, some of this might need stabilizing. I don't know. I may stabilize it all. But anyway, that's something that I've been pursuing while I've been down with everything else, been checking on stuff. So anyway, thought I'd give you an update because I was asked to last night on the Bar Run Forge live stream. I talked to a couple of people on there that asked if I was planning on posting anything anytime soon. So yeah, but that's what I've been dealing with here for a little while, is that, and all my research on everything about getting products in here so I can do and finding other things. So, but like I said, I've been doing other things. I mean, doing a couple. So this right here, just for instance, is I've got a spoon handle right here. Well, it's a cup, or not a cup, but a coffee scoop. That's what I'm gonna make out of it. So this is copper. I've had copper and I've made that. So waiting on rivets so I can put it in there, rivet it on there, like that. So I have multiples, not just the one, but anyway, with that I just got to get the rivets here, and I don't have any copper wire big enough to make rivets with, and I've not seen any locally. So I'm not saying that they don't have them, I've not been anywhere to see them. I didn't see any at Ace, and I didn't see any at Home Depot, and I don't think the welding shop carries copper rivets. I think they carry regular rivets, but not copper rivets. So I'm having to wait on some. So anyway, with that, and what I may wind up doing is getting copper nails and using them as rivets, if these don't, and if where I've got them ordered, if they don't, they're back ordered. Everything's on back order now. So anyway, so if that don't pan out, I'll just have to get me some copper nails, or something like that, or find me, I don't go to Tractor Supply and see if they've got any in the tack department, copper rivets. Yeah, that's what they use. A lot of copper rivets to make tacks, tack for horses. Repair broken leather pieces with copper rivets and everything else like that. So anyway, but this is probably what's on the next. When I get it shaped, when I get it all laid out and everything, and start to get to where I want to grind on it, I'm going to file the shoulders, set the tang, do a notch in it, and drill some holes in it so I can mount it to a jig. And I gotta try to get it as evenly thick as I can. So be looking at some sort of surface grinder attachment one of these days if I don't wind up making one. So, well, I've rambled on and rambled on, and I guess you just not missed that about me, but anyway, I do. So till next time, which I hope will be a lot sooner than this one, I just thought I'd do the update. So till next time, I hope and pray that you've all had good holidays, good New Year, and all right, good, great health. Until next time, God bless.